Starting. Hey, everybody, it's Adam Post. How you doing? I am a 30-year veteran of publishing comic books, creating stories. And tonight, I was really lucky to be able to get some time to sit down with Alejandro Garcia, he's the creator of a lot of things. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. One of the things he's got upcoming is a book called Johnny's Law, which is a very cool book. He'll get into more of the detail on it. And he's also the creator of CG Delta, which is a group of Comicsgate-focused independent publishers. I'm lucky enough to be a member of that, and we help each other to put the books together, to do anything we can to help each other, whether it's referring a printer or it's sharing ideas or it's giving feedback to each other or just inspiring each other, and also sharing information on promotion for channels. That's one of the big things we work on the last couple of days, is trying to organize all the YouTube channels, because as everybody who's in CG knows, everybody who's into Comicsgate Comics, and self-publishing, especially that part, once you know a few of the right people, you're like, oh, wow, this is really cool. And you know, it's always great to be on Comic Artist Pro Secrets, EVS's gigantic, successful show. But there's smaller shows that are also really important. And those guys are great people to work with. They're open to you, and they want to help you too. And you can get some great audience and some great feedback that way. So the point is, a lot of exciting things to talk about. And we're lucky enough also to have Canales, who is the artist for Iron Sights, and he's also going to be the artist on Johnny's Law. And you are also working on, are you working on Jawbreakers now? Excuse me for
No, I wish. I don't think I have the level to work on Jawbreakers. I'm the small, gritty, underground guy. So I'm currently working on Iron Sights Part 2, the sequel.
Ah, yes, a very important book. A very important book. Okay, fantastic. Now we've got you back, Alejandro, right?
Yep.
Fantastic. All right, so let's show a little artwork. I really like what you've shown so far. Let's share screen and show a little artwork on what you've got. I've got a little bit set aside here for Johnny's Law, unless you've got something cool to show on your side.
Yeah, I can show you some stuff. I'm not sure. You have me sharing. Do I need to share my screen?
Yeah, please share your screen if you have it ready.
All right.
And frankly, I'll just be straight with everybody, because I'm that kind of guy. I'm not totally sure how to be locked on your screen, but we're going to do our best.
Okay.
I think if I'm quiet, it works, like most things.
Okay, so here we go. This is the first character design for Johnny Law that was done by Canales.
Slick.
Yes, very slick, very nice. He told me that he was trying to go for more of a stylized look as opposed to his other stuff before. So, and when he showed it to me, I mean, everything he's shown me so far, which hasn't been a whole lot yet, because of course he's busy, but everything is just, I've gotten very loud and vocal in my house, you know, seeing it for the first time, you know, and it blows my mind, because, you know, some people may know this already, that with the original Iron Sights, you know, there was a lot of criticism and things like that. And I even spoke to him, and we've had discussion about that as well, you know, but I knew what your boy Zach knew by seeing his work. And then me being an artist myself, I said, man, this dude has so much potential. And I said, all he's got to do is just do more stuff. I guarantee you he's going to be even better. So once I saw this, after having already, you know, seen that, heard all the stuff, and then him giving me this, because he's always working constantly in the background. First time I saw that, I was like, I knew it. I said, I knew it. I said,
look at those guns.
Yeah.
Look at those guns.
I mean, we're not going to talk about the one here on the right that has a, you know, whatever, but, you know, we'll leave that with a low.
We're not worried. We're not worried about, this is concept.
Yeah, but it's concept. Yeah, it's concept.
We're worried about aesthetics. We're worried about coherence in his stylistic approach. and it's extremely coherent. The way the legs are drawn is consistent with the way the shoulders are drawn. The guns belong there. You can, the guns are to get an idea, but they look special. They look big. He's got 2 of them, and he looks like he means business. And he's thin, but he's obviously incredibly capable.
Yes, exactly. And see, and that's the thing. That's what he's so good at, is like, you give him a description or you give him the idea of what the character is supposed to be like. It's like me when I do music. I'm not like a virtuoso or whatever when I compose music, but if you tell me what you're going for, I can give you the vibe of it, like the best part of it. And that's exactly what he does.
Just your voice tonality is musical.
Yeah, thanks. Well, that's from my time as a rapper and writing people's songs and stuff, you know. So
just so you know, my day gig is a telemarketing company. For the last 15 years, I have a small telemarketing company, so I'm very attuned to people's voices. And I knew you were a musician. I've hired musicians before. They're phenomenal.
That's the thing. I've also done telemarketing, and I've done sales, like one-on-one, selling an album for a band. And I mean, just straight cold sale, like just coming up to people, hey, what kind of music you like? That's and just great. Doing all that, you know. So that, I guess, all of that composed with my previous YouTube history, just, you know. But anyway,
your character sounds like your vibe.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Canales, you really capture.
You tell me how good Ibai is, because he's able to translate all of that. You know what I mean?
Well, he's very capable. He's technically capable. He understands, you know, a theme. He understands theme. He understands design. I haven't seen a lot of his work, just bits and pieces. So I was looking a little bit tonight because I knew he might be on, and it's just hard to keep up with literally everyone and everything. Yeah. But yeah, this is I hire him in a second.
And I mean, the thing is that, like I said, when I first saw this, like, the thing that struck me right away, because I didn't tell him to do this, like, as far as the shirt with the dragon, the jacket with the shoes, the type of shoes, but that's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, he felt, you know.
Yeah, and
isn't that better? Now, you know what? You are perfect for this. Okay, great. So let me interrupt you. I have to ask this.
Okay.
Because I am not an artist. I'm also not a writer.
Right.
So, you know, I don't finally execute anything, but I am high concept. You know, and I'll come up with something that's like, people to hear that and be like, yeah, that sounds really cool. And I can give kind of an aesthetic value. But when I see somebody like do a character design and it suits what I was thinking of, sometimes even, you know, a little better than what I was thinking of, that's an incredible feeling, right?
Oh yeah, it is. Because when I received this one right here, this was the second character sketch he sent me, which was so much more defined. Right, he nailed the face, like he had it down what he was supposed to look like, right? So that just drove me nuts. And then what sold it even more to me, and I've even expressed this to him, is the way, and I've had a few friends that have looked at this that know about guns and stuff like that.
Yeah,
the way that he had the slides back, right, and you see just the muzzle brakes with the muzzle flash, and then the casings coming out at the same time. He was taking.
I don't think that's me, is it?
That's not me.
Yeah, that's definitely not me. It's 3 a.m. here, no music around.
What's going on YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe, Niles Scally here with another.
All right.
Oh yeah, that's
sorry, man. We're sniping somebody else's stream.
Anyway.
All right, I'll fix it. Just give me 10 seconds.
Out there.
All right. Now this is making me nuts. All right, hold on. I'm sorry, guys.
That's all right.
No problem.
Damn you, Niles.
We always like to keep our eye on the competition, you know.
I'm on everybody's show. I'm on it. I was on their show the other night. I was running their show.
No, I know.
All right, hold on a second. Sorry about that, gentlemen.
Oh no, it's all right.
I could do better next time. I even have Canales here.
Oh yeah, I'm like telling you, I'm grateful that he's here, because it's late over there for that man. So
yeah, it's a privilege. We appreciate you, man. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Well, you know, it's customary for me to suffer for my art.
You got to finish this graphic novel. I'm not going to steal you away for something. But isn't it amazing? Like, in the creative process, you can start with a high concept, and then you could go to somebody who feels you, and then start with a couple of character descriptions. And all of a sudden, like, it becomes 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional, 5-dimensional, and then you can write off of that. It's just,
well, like I was saying, here is the fact that he took what would be, let's say in a movie, the character's movement of jumping sideways, firing, right, and the slides going back and forth. He put all of that into one. He took, like, let's say 4 or 5 frames and put it all together into one, one thing that showed motion, the complete motion of what you would imagine in your head that you can't necessarily do because it's static 2D art, So something like that.
Yeah.
Really being that type of a person creatively and just, really, coming from love of comics and films and action movies, etc. Seeing that, I knew right away what he was doing, and it just was, I could, no one else obviously would geek out more than me because they don't, they're not in the industry. But I have had some, like, people that I showed that know guns and stuff. They did say that that was a smart way to do it. You know what I mean? So that's what
real deal.
That's what I love about his work, man. He's just so on point with it.
That's gorgeous. How old is this character? How old is the guy?
At this present time, I believe he's 29.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, there's sort of a, there's a definite timeline, and I've have it like all mapped out, but there's a younger, in the story itself, in the book, there's a younger him, or let's say a 10-year difference between him, or it's either 5 or 10, and it jumps from that point into the present,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to show any more art on him just yet, or do you want to talk a little more about what he is and what his gig is?
Yeah, we can do that, and I'll show the inked first page, and then I'll show the colored version of it.
Cool. Let's see the ink page if we could.
Okay, let me pull that up real quick. Let's see here.
I figured out how to lock the screen, so we're good.
There you go. And that's the first page, yeah.
All right, that's Johnny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's in his gun room. This is the first page, and he's actually, I can tell you pretty much what's going on here. He's making adjustments to an AK, and while he's in the middle of doing that, he receives a phone call. I won't tell you, who it is or whatever, but basically it's a phone call for a job, and then that's kind of where we start kicking off the next page. But in this page, what he's saying, he's talking about the first kill, making your first kill, and how that's the one that you remember, and that how do you call it, that hits you the hardest more than any of them. After having killed so many people, he can only remember, or he can only focus on that first one, And
it's
so
like
now
it's like that bit in True Romance, the one with James Gandolfini, when he speaks about every time you kill someone, you feel the same, except it's more diluted. And the first one is always the one you remember the most.
Interesting.
Yeah, see, and that is the thinking behind it, because that's one of my favorite movies, so that whole monologue that he has, James Gandolfini, in that movie, has always stuck with me, but you hear it in a lot of other movies, and I have heard it from people like that have been to war and things like that. It's always that first one that you have to get over, which is like with anything, the first time you have to dive off a diving board.
What's interesting is, do you think, because this is like hard, this is like a chicken and egg kind of thing maybe, but do you think that when a character is like, okay, yeah, I'm going to be an assassin, I'll do it. You get the job, you do the job, and then you're going to remember that forever. And then you have to supposedly get over that and still function like a regular person with your other relationship. So do you ever get over it, or does it just change you into something else? Killed anybody, like Canales is probably killing 2 people right now. But I mean,
probably.
Brilliant art.
I haven't killed anyone in at least 2 weeks.
I was going to say,
we can't prove anything.
As long as the timelines don't line up, we're good. Plus, you're with Eduardo the whole time. Eduardo will cover you. He's a good man. Yeah, I mean, you kind of think about it like, well, you have to get over, you're getting over the first one, but maybe it changes you. And you know what I'd be curious about too is, do we see his relationships? You know, a love interest, family.
Yeah, actually we do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do see a love interest. There is definitely a that, and there's a a flashback onto his life with his family and stuff like that. So I don't want to give away too much.
No. But just
yeah,
just the whole, like, for example, like you were talking with James Gandolfini, and then one of the amazing things, of course, about The Sopranos is that he had the two families,
right.
and you got to see both, and then they were forced to do all the extra stuff with his wife and his wife's feelings, and they got off on tangents with that because it was really supposed to be his point of view, but yeah, it's interesting to see both and to try to imagine like how they would handle certain things. I mean, obviously, I don't know if you guys are family men or not, but you know how it is. Like, you got to go do family things on Saturdays and stuff like that, but not him. He's got to kill people.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That. Yeah.
Because people live in their whole like, well, why can't you do this? Like, well, I just killed somebody. I need a couple of days off to decompress or something.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So he winds up. So does he?
Well, he's Johnny's former military. He was pretty much a military prodigy. And he never really killed anybody. Ironically, never killed anyone while he was in service. But he was more of scout and recon. He had never run into anything, but it was the fact that where his previous life came from, being from Los Angeles and being in gang culture and things like that. I don't even want to say gang culture. I would say gang life, because I lived in Los Angeles and I was around gang, like being in rap the way that I was back in the day. Especially in LA, there's a lot of times people are from that and they come out of it. I wasn't technically a gangbanger. Like, I didn't claim a set, but I was around them, Crips and Bloods. So, I saw that whole mentality. I saw the whole way of being and the way to act in all these situations.
Are you comfortable talking about it a little bit?
Well, I mean, I don't know. What do you want to know?
That's what I'm going to ask you. Yeah. Okay. So here's what I'm going to ask you. Like, so, I don't know if the right term would be square, but to say someone that doesn't know gang life,
Yeah.
All right. So kind of like square. That's like me, whatever. So, I mean, I had a couple dangerous friends, but anyway, I was like at least always one major step removed. But, so what are the kind of things you think about day to day that a person that doesn't know the culture, doesn't have to think about? I mean, like, because we see stuff on rap videos, you hear people talking a lot of bullshit. But it seems like, I don't know, it does seem like it's different. You got like different things to think about, different things, like knowing that the Crips and the Bloods, like, they're out there and they're around, and you know what I mean?
Well, okay. First off, a lot of times the rappers that you're seeing that are talking about this are what we used to call back in the late 90s studio gangsters. They're talking about all this stuff, but and you may have seen it in some movies where people like that will get approached and then they crumple up, and because they never really were like that, but they were just portraying this image. So
like a Vanilla Ice /
I mean, something like that. I mean, I'm just generalizing.
Yeah, you're great general. You're like, there's a lot of stuff I'm not telling you boys.
Well, no. It's just that's just basically how it is, But as far as this live, we don't always call square. We probably would call like civilian or whatever,
Civilian, yeah.
But with that life, the number one thing would be what we call retaliation and get back. So. It's when you're always having to look over your shoulder. You're very careful.
Can I just tell you something, Alan?
Yeah, go ahead.
For you, what you just said is very cool. Write down the term "get back," and that's either a story or it's a separate project for you.
Yeah, no, I've already, my
you got something called Get Back.
Yeah, I don't have anything called Get Back, but like the term is there and it's going to exist. Like, I mean,
so cool.
To us on that side over there, or when my former whatever back then, that's just a normal everyday term. But to those who aren't in that don't know, like you said, when you hear terms like that, they're like, what is that?
No, even as a civilian, I
Yeah.
hear it, and then you show context with a cover by Canales, and you
Mhm.
call a graphic novel Get Back.
Mhm.
That's a movie done. As long as you execute the story well.
Well, I also have a prequel that I'm planning for this book, would be because I know that Canales has stuff going on, so I'm trying to, but then again, it requires him to draw. So, we just kind of try to see how it all works out. But I had one plan called Johnny's Law Ronin. And so that kind of, uh, without being, how do you call it, stereotypical or something like that, because because Johnny he's black, he's black, Japanese, and Chinese, so he's mixed. And that's not uncommon in LA. There's a lot of Asian and black mixed out there, so it's not an uncommon thing. But to the average civilian, if we're going to use that term, they may not know that. You know what I mean? If they have, and I don't even want to say civilian, meaning just people who don't live in Los Angeles proper, that wouldn't know that.
Civilian's cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You admire the culture. See, like we're talking right now, obviously it's not always a good thing, but because of the cool factor, which is the mode that we're in right now, and because it's partly your life, it's interesting to, get to know people, and because we're talking about the, entertainment value of something that's just freaking cool, like The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Get Back would be a great title. Like a Get Shorty type of deal.
Yeah, well, that's the main component of what you deal with in that lifestyle, is that you're always looking over your shoulder. You're always, because I can tell you personally from my own experience, there was a few times that one of the things about Los Angeles is that you get heavy fog, sometimes in the early mornings, and that fog is a very dangerous thing, because I've been in cars where people have rolled up on us with guns and pointed in the car, and thank the Lord that they didn't have the sense to just shoot right then as soon as but they thought we were someone that they had beef with.
Wow.
So that's what I mean by retaliation and get back. You're always worried about somebody that you did something to is going to come back and pay you back for it. You know what I mean?
And even if you didn't do anything,
even if you didn't, right? You could be.
All you need is the fog, and you're a dead man.
You just happen to look like someone. I don't know how many times I've had dudes step to me and say, "Hey, man, isn't your cousin such and such?" And I'm like, "No." And this was before smartphones. So, it's not like they could look at the picture before they even come up to you and say, "Oh, no, that's not him." You know what I mean? That's saving lives right there. Wow. You know what I mean? with that invention, that's saving lives, because not everybody happens that way. They step to you and they say, "Yeah, you did this to my cousin. Yeah, I know it was you." Bop, bop. And that's it, and you're dead.
Canales, did you know any of this stuff? Canales, you still there, brother?
He might be having mic issues.
Yeah. All right, no problem. I'm just curious. Yeah, it's a little bit of light. All right, I see him writing. Hey.
No, we can't. We can hear static, but we can't.
Yeah, just static. Just static. Sorry, man. All right, we're gonna keep going on with our story here. This is really interesting stuff. So this is
now he's there. I think he's there.
Oh,
now.
cool.
I just unplugged my headset and I'm talking directly to the computer. So I'm gonna.
The computer loves it. The computer loves it. Canales, my question was just, are you familiar with this, like all this cultural stuff that Al is laying on us?
Well, I'm vaguely familiar with it thanks to a lot of movies that I've watched.
Okay.
But I'm not going to say that I come from a similar background, but I was brought up in a fairly tough neighborhood. You guys ever seen, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a movie. It was kind of like Trainspotting, something like that. Trainspotting, maybe The Boxer, that movie with Daniel Day-Lewis. about the former IRA guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Go ahead. I got the idea.
Yeah, it was something like that. We didn't really have gangs here in the northern Spain, but we did have like a really tough political environment, and we did only until recently we had strong armed separatist presence here. So gun violence was fairly normal. I mean, it was nothing like LA, but it was something like that. And also from the 80s on, we also had a really big opioid problem. I think it's similar to what's happening in the US now.
Wow.
So yeah, it was pretty common to have someone who was either in jail for having shot someone, or having a family member who had been killed, or even more normal was to have someone hooked onto smack. So I can relate to that to some degree.
So when you're working on Johnny's Law, you get this whole cultural background, and you get the whole mood of it and the whole feeling of it.
Yeah, even though we didn't really have guns back then, because getting a gun is pretty hard in Spain, we did have knives and sticks, and we did have like our own version of gangs. And the get back you guys have been talking about was also fairly normal. I mean, if so and so's gang had a problem with someone, and they would go looking for that someone, and if you happen to be in the vicinity, you're gonna get beat up no matter what, stuff like that.
Well, I will say this just one thing, and forgive me for repeating myself. I only do it when I really, really feel it strongly. But with your stories, Alejandro, and with Canales' art, if you had a big logo at the top of a project that said "Get Back," you're someone like me who doesn't know what that means, but it's like, well, it must mean something. And then I start looking at your cover art, and it describes, if your cover art tells me like what Get Back is, or what could happen, like somebody looking at it, something in the corner of their eye, and there's someone behind them doing something, or whatever it happens to be. If the cover told the story of what Get Back is, and you had Get Back at the top, that is so freaking compelling. It's so interesting. So I look, for me, I've been coming up with ideas. Like High Concept is pretty much just what I do. I think that's fantastic. I think this sounds really, really interesting already. Not that you have to change anything. I'm just saying.
No, of course. I'm always
set me on fire a little bit. Like I would just do that. I would.
Yeah, I'm always gonna take a suggestion and everything. Doesn't mean I'll follow it all the time, but I'll definitely take it into.
Yeah, you put the ear out, and then sometimes what, some of the best ideas. It's a couple days later, and it knocks you down, and you're like, "Oh man, that is what it is."
That's it can definitely inspire other things. You know what I mean? You can get something that offshoots into something else and becomes even greater.
Yeah, I want to make a movie.
Both of you could have done. Yeah.
I'll make a movie called Get Back, produced by Alejandro and Canales, and we all make a fortune. How about that, man?
I'll have you guys know that I always used to play the mafia hitman when we did short films in college, because I looked the part. Yeah.
Do you remember any dialogue? Can we do that quick and then we get back to the art?
Yeah.
Improv?
They're all in Spanish though, but yeah, I used to improv a lot of really badass and menacing stuff back in the day.
You know what? There's a mafia guy that I knew, and he was a captain. And I don't know any mafia people. Well, anyway, he had this way about him. And everybody who knew him was like, that's pretty badass. His deal was he sounded like he was cursing when he was not cursing. And he really would.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you
know
mean.
What I mean? So I'm telling you the truth. I mean, the guy was a scary character. I don't know. It's just like their presence, and they're dangerous, and somehow the aesthetic that civilians, I like your term, Alejandro, civilians take, the aesthetic of cursing. Like when we want to be really badass, we'll curse and people know we mean it, and, we're mad, whatever. But these guys were just like serious characters. And,
myself personally, I have to sometimes catch myself because I mean, it's just been years now, but but recent, that's been years ago, but in recent time,
we're all trying to make it like 20 years ago. And
I'm 43, so it really was like 20 years ago, you know, but my wife will be saying something to me from the other room, you know, and I'll be like, what'd you say? You know, or and I don't say it like I have to catch myself because instead of saying, what did you say?
It's just programmed.
I'll be like, what you say? Like, and she's like, well, I didn't say it, you know.
Right.
And
She
so I have to catch myself
like,
and I'll be like, I didn't mean it that way, you know, but that's how it comes out sometimes because that's what, you know, you're always
on guard.
on guard for someone to say something slick. And so you're just like, what did you say? You know, and like, what's up? You know, let's do it. And that's just the
we're like the three most dangerous guys in Comicsgate. We're all trying to smile and be nice and stuff. You better buy our books, okay? Let's just put it that
But I want to hear Canales like do his thing.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Canales.
You guys want me to improvise something in Spanish that sounds really menacing?
Yeah, go ahead. Do it.
I know it's absurd, but we love it. Come on.
No, I think I can gather some of my old cinematic spunk.
How about the situation is you've been trying to tell me to do something and I have not been paying attention properly?
Well, I would probably say something like, hijo puta, mira pa' aquí, haz caso o te voy a poner a cagar dientes.
Ooh, I know what he just said too.
That would be you being nice. What did he just tell me?
He basically told you he's gonna make you poop your teeth. That's one of the things he said. So you know. And he called you some other names I'm not gonna say, you know.
He says it nicely, and then the next move is he does it. There's no like
because he says it from like almost a gritted teeth, you know. That's the thing you do, you know, you make
real.
It's like, for example, Ice Cube, everybody always looks at his scowl that he always has, right? And they'll have him come on and they'll say like the sweetest thing, but say it the way that Ice Cube would say it with the scowl on his face, you know. And that's basically what he did, you know, even though he said something bad, but I mean, like, that's part of it is that facial and how your mouth is adjusted and your tone, you know, you just put it all together and, you know, people will know whether you're serious or not. Like me, myself, I've been with my wife, even here in the recent years, I've been with my wife and we've been around some situation, something was going on or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's some guy that's walking around and he's in the midst of the situation, right? He's part of it. And it's not a gang thing. It's just, you know, like some disagreement or something happened. And I'm looking I'm looking at one person like running their mouth, and then I'm looking at this guy, and I said, you know what? If I was that person right now, I would shut up. I said, because I can tell somebody, you know, this person, I can look at them, I know, you know what I mean, whether they kill somebody or they're the first, or they're the person who's gonna just come sock you up, and they're not even gonna like. There's no, you know, standing there. Would you like fisticuffs or none of that? They're you know, they're just gonna come and give you some main knots.
Yeah,
and that's not what you want.
Not what you want. Know? So one of the things about Johnny's Law is it's going to be incredibly authentic.
I guess you could say that. Yeah.
Yeah. So people, especially people who know, are going to know.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that they will. You know, those who may have been in that type of life or whatever, you know, they may pick up on stuff like that. Yeah.
Now, so let me ask you something about Johnny's Law, just not super story details or whatever. Mm-hmm. So the first book is planned to be how many pages?
Well, that depends. The script itself right now with just the story is 50 pages. And the prequel, if we do it, is going to be it's supposed to be 6 to 8 pages, just depends. And then if Canales has any of the, you know, the, like he did for the Abductables, like a sketch, you know, gallery or rather you know, kind of process type of thing, that we could add that. And I'm thinking maybe we might do that for like a stretch goal or something like that. But, you know,
one thing I could recommend that I did on College of the Dead, my graphic novel, and I love how this thing came out and people seem to be buying it. Like, we're not doing amazing business with College of the Dead. This is my first launch, and, you know, just timing and everything. But in any event, we took layouts, you know, the rough pencil layouts off of the full script. And we took the entire full script, which is 50 pages of text, and we have 50 pages of layouts. and roughly, and we made like 100-page ashcan book. And even if you don't have to do all the pages, but if you have some of the full script and then the rough layouts, that I don't know how you guys are working, but if you were approving rough layouts, that's nice content for people to truly see the making of. And it's really educational, because it's such a miracle to make comic books. It's such a blessing to be able to make comic books. It's such a creative, interesting process to go from blank page, to then a layout, to then a almost finished, and then a finished piece, and then like, oh man, we have to make correction, whatever. But then everything just comes together. It's like it's just like making movies. But in a way, because we have so much more control, it's better.
But I like that idea, because coming from like my my previous history of getting into indie comics and drawing and trying to learn and all that, it's really it would have interested me in trying to get into it, to see that and see notes and say this needs to be changed, or what the difference was between one and the other, because I would be thinking, how did they do that? How did this artist, like, how did he come to the idea of this panel layout and choosing this perspective, etc. So yeah.
And sometimes you see that the artist just decided to do their own thing.
And this is the guy you're talking to too. So,
and that's not, sometimes it depends on what the subject matter is. It depends on how important that panel was. It depends on if you had a good idea or not for it, or the artist a lot of times is a better idea, because artists are amazing. They're always like saving perspectives and like pictures and scenes. So like, I'm going to use this building scene it's like, all right, that's amazing that you have that.
Well, after reading, I don't mean to cut you off, but after reading Abductables, I got my copy not too long ago. But reading it and seeing the process, right? I was able to see from the script to his final and the layouts, like how he took things that should have, or that were scripted to be more panels, he was able to put it into one. He was able to make 3 panels into one, and it worked. It worked perfectly. So the thing is a lot of times, you always hear from, you need an editor, etc. And a lot of times editors are very, very strict on how things are done. And that the thing about him is, I told him, I said, I want to do layouts, and then I'll do approvals on them. But my mentality of the way that I'm doing it, especially coming from an artistic stance myself, is that all I want to do is just make sure that that visually the story is coming along the way that I have it. You're not necessarily word for word.
You're not verbatim. You're not looking for the picture in your head to even be the same.
But I'm also wanting to see if maybe even I see something and it makes him think, oh yeah, you know what? I didn't think about that. I could, whatever. But I want to give him the freedom to do what he does, because I already know. Me approaching him to begin with was because I already knew. Maybe even before he knew, I could see what he was capable of and what he could do. And so when he told me, oh, there's going to be time between, a while, because I got all these things going on, I said, I want you to do that, because all that's going to happen is I'm going to get Canales 2.0. You know what I mean? I'm going to get
the best work.
Yeah. And so I was great with that. And so that's why when we do this, I want him to, to do his thing, to do what he knows to do. I want him to feel able to flex. And that way I know it's going to come out really good,
Well, what's nice is, if Canales is doing it on his downtime, then, he's really feeling good when he's working on your stuff. That is good. That's extra.
Yeah,
that's extra delivery for you.
Yeah,
I see JOHNNY LAU the way I saw the Abductables and Tombstone Blues, because working for Zach it's not a bad experience, on the contrary, but it's really tough, because he's really detailed, and Ironsides, the world of Ironsides, is really realistic and grounded, and I'm not allowed to be as over the top and stylized as I'm with the Abductables, JOHNNY LAU and all that, and that's what I really like. So I see working for Zach as a kind of boot camp, You know,
Yeah.
it's tough. It's really useful. It will help you in the long run. And after that, I like to just relax
Play a
and
little
do
bit.
something, yeah, something crazy, something about the
Mhm.
top with big guns and guts flying everywhere. So that's how I see this. It's like my downtime after boot camp.
And that's how it felt from how you guys were describing it. And
Yeah.
it sounds like Alejandro, and working with you, you want to have a creative guy who has the ability to express himself stylistically like that,
Right.
and that could really just he gets the tone. So
Right. Exactly.
you can't even tell a guy, even though you're an artist, you can't tell him the perfect way to do something almost,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
unless you have a incredibly stark vision for one page or something like that
Right.
out of 10, and you're like, no, on this page you've got the tombstone here, and you're doing this and you're doing that, and the girl's crying over there and her mom is over here,
Yeah.
but it's great because Canales can think about stuff, and then he can also make suggestions to you, and he might tell you where he thinks you're wrong too, if you guys have that good a relationship.
Yeah, I don't care if if he feels that, something like, no, look, just trust me.
Yeah.
This is better. Okay, cool, fine, we'll go with it. But that's what the point of Roughs too is to see the idea that he's talking about, and then I'm like, oh, I got you, and then I say, well, hey, but you know what? If you add this too, that would be tight. He'd be like, oh yeah, that'll work, and oh, and I could even do this, and boom, there you go.
And those rough,
that's the way I want to work.
it's a shame to not share those roughs, or at least some of them where you could show like 5 or 10 sequential art pages of full script and then the alternate page. I didn't know it would look good. I was like, this is cool content. I just gave it to my graphic designer. I was like, we have to make a book out of this. I want text, and we have text with even some photo reference that we used for the penciler. And then on the right-hand side, layouts. So text layouts. And it's like, it's so silly, but it's so exciting to make the books that you get to bring people into the process of making the book. It's a very cool thing. I think we should all think about doing it because I think it's a reasonably high perceived value. It is black. It's a black and white thing to do. So it's not like if you have a color book, you can make it a little ash can, or you can do what I did, a full ash can. If you look at College of the Dead in terms of what people wound up actually buying, a lot of people bought the ash can and the book, and it's like 25 and 25, and the people that get it, I know they're going to be happy with it. So I would just encourage you guys to give it some thought and maybe play with it a little bit, because I think it's a really special way to bring people into the process, and your process sounds very interesting, the way you guys are working.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Even for the initial character, Johnny himself, we've seen, I showed, like I'll show here again.
Wait, let me focus on you.
Okay, wait, hold on. Don't focus on me yet. Just wait 1 second.
I can't.
You got to. Hold on.
All right, well, look at me. Hey, look at that.
Okay. All right. And then let's see here.
Now you're talking. Oh, I have to lock it on me? All right, it's locked on me.
Okay. So
this is a very interesting live stream. These guys are passionate. They're professionals. You've got a writer who also is an artist, but sought out Canales, who he stole away from your boy Zach. Not really.
not really. I mean,
into the game with your boy Zach. He saw talent.
I'm an easy guy. I will go home with anyone who offers me a good script.
I have a script to show you. No, after you're done with this, no, I would like to see. It's very cool to see stylized character designs. Let's put it that way, because character designs can be very rough. But I get excited when I see character designs that are stylistic, and it's coherent, where you get the look and you get the story by the way the character's standing, and then it's publishable content where people would like not be like roughly just getting the idea. They'd be excited to see it. So yeah, to me, it's a good artist that really cares about executing work. I think there's going to be a lot of work for good artists. So I'll definitely say that. And who knows, maybe Canales has got his own ideas for stories. You've lived a life.
I actually do. The thing is, I was never too good of an artist because I saw myself more as a writer. And I actually have a couple of self-published books, and I think it was like, in Spanish, of course. Sorry, Maybe I can find someone to translate them to English. Maybe I'll become the new
Are they any good?
mayor. Sorry?
Are they any good?
I think they are. At least they're original. I try to not replicate anything I know.
Did anybody say that they liked them?
People who bought them.
That means that they're basically good. First of all, of course,
there were not too many of them, but
of course you'll have to keep all your commitments. But you know what? We would love to. You can tell us what they're saying. We'll do a show one day if you want to, Canales.
So here you can go ahead and share now.
All right, now we're focusing on you. It's very interesting, Canales. Oh,
so this actor, a lot of people may know, but and he was on Lost, I believe, is one of the shows he was on. But
he was younger then. Wow.
Yeah. So that was, to me, was the inspiration for just the face of Johnny Law. Johnny Lau. Sorry, and so if you see here the way the face looks here, I mean, he really did take the idea of it. Not necessarily a portrait, but he got the idea down of the structure of the face and everything. So it really, it brought that out. Also, this is hold on a second here. This is actually the picture he sent me of the blue line from the first page that he was working on. And, I didn't expect it the day that he showed it to me, and he's like, "Hey, look at this." And I was like, "Oh, I was so excited. I just couldn't take it." He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to ink it or whatever." And I was like, "Oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait." And
it's a great feeling.
He gave it to me, and I was like, "What? That's amazing." But here's the hold on, let me see. The first page colored by me.
Nice.
Yeah, I this is after, like, I believe this was the fourth time I redid it, and I still have another time to redo it. Then I want to try something else to see.
Well, I want I don't know a lot about color. I know a little about color, and Kyle Ritter is in our group, and he's very busy with the launch of his Starblades project. But he's a genius, and he has tremendous insight on color. What I've learned about color from one of the old guys from Marvel Comics when he came into our we used to have a comic studio in the early 90s was he would say, like, the color should tell a story too. So I mean, to the extent that is possible,
right?
And it looks like the blue is there for a reason,
right? Yeah, that's the like the blue neon lights. It's inside of his gun room. But this actually, this final one here was through under direction from Carl O. Rowe, the creator of Deathsworn, and he is mentoring me for that, for color and stuff like that, or anything that as far as even drawing and all that. But he went over this with me, and I have to give him a lot of props because I know he's busy. And I mean, he gave me the first time that he told me the first version that I showed him, he gave me extensive notes. Like,
you know what? You always know you run. I don't know how old he is, but I was just on another stream the other night, and I was talking about this. Like, once guys hit 40, we have this, and you might not believe it, but I'm actually over 40. I'm 49. But
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I know. I'm like 22. But anyways, thank you. We have this like strong desire to mentor. There's another guy in our community that is asking his 2 cents on what to do on my campaign. Like, you think I should change up the graphics? Actually, it was Von Klaus, Mr. Monster MD, great guy.
Yes, he's also on CG Delta. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. A CG Delta man all the way.
Yeah.
And I messaged him direct. I was like, just be brutal. If you have a minute, tell me what you think. And I thought he would like maybe give me 3 sentences because honestly, I help people as much as I can. I try to work smart instead of hard because I do get very crunched for time too. Vaughn must have spent like 45 minutes preparing careful notes on things with explanations and stuff.
Yeah,
and he doesn't have time to do that for everybody. But the point is, I was lucky that the timing was right, that he was able to help me. But man, so much respect for guys who really do reach out. They try to help the other guy out. But we also, like, I tell people literally everything I know, and I'm trying to help us all share more information and be organized in the little Delta group. And it's like it makes a huge difference, and it feels great. It's like one great thing you got done that day.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's it, like you said, it's amazing, and you do get older, people with experience, and they, tend to want to share. And sometimes you get people who are younger that they're kind of like, they're still young bucks, so they're just like, oh, cool, thanks, old man, but I got this, but that's the craziest thing is that because with Carl, he's 22. You know what I mean? And the dude has got skill like he's freaking 40 something. Like he's been in the business for like 20 years.
Well, that's somebody. Usually, what that means is just somebody with great parents.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about Canales because he's like an immortal from what I hear. So
I'm a little.
The age he looks like now. I've seen the baby pictures. He looks the same exactly.
Wow.
There's no difference. He was just born at the age he was. In the age of a 30-something-year-old man, So
you're scary, man. You're scary.
Yeah, actually, look 30 since I was at least 17.
But you have there's always a fascination with someone who's like has a Spanish accent or an English accent or something, or in my case, I sound like I'm pretending I'm in the mafia. When you have like a different way, and Alejandro is pretty slick too. We gotta accentuate that. It's good for our street cred and our uniqueness to just be ourselves.
Yeah, I keep getting that I'm the Antonio Banderas of Comicsgate. So I think
I never told him that though. I always kind of thought it, but I didn't say anything. But hey,
Oh, you know what?
That's a great compliment because hey, Antonio played in the Desperado movies, so
all respect to Antonio. I mean, the guy was born in Malaga, not too far away from here, on a small village. He went to Hollywood and he killed it there. And now the guy's a millionaire and famous and all that. So maybe we all be like him.
Dude, let me tell you something. I'm trying to get Canales to come move down here with me. Like in this city and hey, things are going on over there in Spain. So, I know he's probably thinking about it. And man, dude, you think this is what you're getting now from like thousands of miles away for us to do a project like this? If he was down the street around the corner, you know what I mean? A hop, skip, and a jump away, as they say, man, let me tell you what we would do. Oh my gosh. Because I already told him I will create stories specifically for whatever he likes, the things that he's interested in and he wants to do. I will create them specifically so that he can draw them, And I'll always allow him to get first pick. If I'm doing something and he wants, he sees it or I tell him about the concept, he's like, oh man, I want to do that. That's yours. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. I feel all tingly on the inside.
I could easily see having off live conversations with you guys about potential projects. You guys have tremendous energy. It's very cool. This project looks really cool. I think you're going to get a lot of support for this. I think Alejandro, we could just even take a night. Maybe we'll do this as a show and just talk about planning a crowdfunding campaign and also get somebody else involved who's done a successful one who wants to talk with us too. I have a tremendous number of observations having launched mine. I didn't know CG Delta existed. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of stuff I didn't know. And I found out as I went on, and it's just like, if it's planned out the right way, you pretty much have a guaranteed hit. If you have a cool concept and you let people know about it, it could be really successful. And I think Canales is black and, Canales, your books from Spain probably have potential too for direct reprints, and you could work with somebody here, and you already know, obviously, a lot of people. There's a lot of people doing a lot of projects, but I don't know, there's a lot of cool stuff, we could talk about. Are you going to have Eric Weathers letter it, the letterer of Comicsgate? It might be. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I don't know yet because we haven't launched a campaign. Money wise, I'm not sure how.
I don't know what his rate is. He just seems to work with everybody.
Yeah, I don't know how all that's going to pan out because I'm not like honestly, I'm not super. I don't have a whole lot of money really to flex like that. But I mean, maybe if he wanted to work with us, it's just up to him.
Maybe
But
one page. Maybe have him letter one page and just see what you think.
yeah, and I personally was gonna try to do the lettering myself. So I've been.
You know what? There really is an aesthetic to it, though. I mean, you really add value when you use a pro like Eric. Honestly, only not that you're not an artist, not that
Yeah,
but
I got you. I know.
You know where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, it's like writing a Michael Jackson song and then, thinking you're gonna get Peabo Bryson on it or somebody, Luther Vandross. No, you get Michael Jackson. I think Michael Jackson song, So
yeah. Plus, which he does have a show. He always talks about the people that he works with. I think, and I think just honestly for promotional value, it's probably really worth considering for that. But he also, he takes a discipline and a love to the work. And I don't know how he works, and I would love to know what his rates are, and he may scale them based on who's hired him. I don't know how he works. I know he can work just fast, and he works until he gets it done right. And everyone who's worked with him is just raves about him.
Yeah, Eric is really good. I mean, back because I'm 43, so I grew up and saw everything that Starkings and Comic Craft.
Richard Starkings. He did a logo for me once.
Right. So I saw from back then, and so even myself in my handwriting, my just normal print handwriting, I started writing in comic book letter form. That's how I would write. So I whenever I did artwork before, when digital wasn't such a wasn't even really a feasible at the time, I was actually lettering myself over the actual artwork, so I already have that understanding, but at the same time, that understanding lets me know like how brilliant Eric's stuff is. So, I haven't told him that, but yeah, definitely that's the way I feel when I see it.
Well,
here's this weird thing about lettering that it can uplift the comic book, or I'm not gonna say destroy it, but it can really like
detract,
wide it down. Yeah, for so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah, it could either hold it up and make sure you're good, and that's your backup. Like those are Eric's got you. Don't worry about it. Or it could be a risk, and then one or two things wrong because you just last point about it because you guys, of course, you guys already know this. Maybe somebody's listening and they're learning it. But with lettering, it's something that can shake the suspension of disbelief. Like a poorly designed panel where it's like, well, what's going on this panel? And you have to have an arrow that points to the movement in the panel. And it's like, well, all right, so now I'm reading a comic. It's like, no, you want to forget that you're reading a comic.
Right, exactly.
And good lettering really helps, and it helps move the action along.
Yeah, that's the term I was looking for, immersion. The bad lettering can break immersion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we definitely don't want people to do that. We want them deep into the stories in the comics. Yeah. Even if it's, I don't know, man. We'll see how it comes together. I like that you're dealing with 50 pages. That's really substantial.
Yeah,
I like that
it's a one shot. It's a one shot with potential for other other stories.
So let me ask you, in terms of the story on this, are you going to see like a character arc evolution? Are we going to? Is it going to be just like episodic, where it's like, all right, he starts out this way, he kind of ends up this way at the end, pretty much the same, or is he going to go through an evolution where he starts out this one way, things happen, and it seems at the end he's still alive, but he's never going to be the same again?
Okay, well, I'll tell it to you like this.
Sure.
For the background on this story, is somewhat different from what it was originally, which originally was a script idea from 1997 that I had. Okay. So this was a long time ago. And then I had like pretty much like a 20-year hiatus between me drawing and trying to create comics and, doing that stuff on my own, or rather with other people that were doing independent stuff. And so when it came time to do something, when I discovered Zach's channel, I discovered EVS, his channel, and saw Comicsgate, and just had this invigoration that just told me this is the time to do something, because
it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the most amazing time to do it. And now with crowdfunding, it makes it so much more feasible than it ever would have been before, when you were just thinking about promotion and advertising and, printing, especially, and all that. So then there weren't as many options as there are now. So
Alejandro, when did you first get involved with independent comics publishing?
I got involved with it back in '96.
So I was telling guys this on I was on War Campaign last night. I was telling the guys, and I was saying this on Billy's show the day before, Crowdfunding Comics. It's never been like this, and Billy knows it for sure, because Billy's been in the game almost as long as me, Billy Tucci. I was in a little longer than him, because I was in as of like the first black and white comics boom after the Turtles came out. But there've been booms and busts in comics or whatnot. But the boom that we have now, that there's like 50 members of your CG Delta, our CG Delta Twitter group, and we're expanding it to a Discord, which is just basically a big Twitter. There's never been that, like, all right, well, just in our group, there's 50 guys. They're self-publishing or involved in someone else's book that's that close. There's never been like 500 comic book publishers. There have not. There have been a lot of comics, but it's never been like this before, where people are just passionate about putting their book out, and they're working on putting out another book. And of course, they're not all going to do $1 million.
Bro, let me tell you something. To be able to be close to somebody like Canales, first of all, and people like yourself and, Eric and freaking Kyle Ritter.
Yeah, Kyle's
the triple threat of CG.
Yeah,
to be that close to these people and to be able to just like, boom, DM or chat message, we talk to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, I never would have imagined or dreamed that back in 96, 97.
You can't do it. And it's not that everybody, I was around 96 and I don't know if Kyle was even born, but he's around, but there's a kid maybe, but everybody was around. There wasn't as many of us. We didn't all have as much opportunity as we have, because even me, like, my book's not doing gigantic dollars just yet. My book doesn't need to do 25 grand to exist. I'm not even, we're doing a couple of thousand on it, and we're fine. We're fine. The book's already done. It's already paid for. It's a flexible goal. It's only my first time out. It took 6 months and like a dozen books of trying until we started to really hit it big, and then we could fund our own in-house studio of artists, because it was successful. But it can take a little time. It depends how much time you're putting into it, whatever. As long as you know what your numbers are. But still, there are hits in publishing. It does happen. That is publishing. So there's your break evens. There's some stuff that you can lose a little money on. You always have to deliver. But who knows? Maybe Canales' crazy Spanish comics, like, one of those ideas, sell $200,000 and there's like $150,000 profit or something out of that. Yeah. And then maybe it turns into a movie, or maybe we're looking at the next Johnny's Law movie that all of a sudden is called Get Back when somebody buys the rights. Come on.
Hey, well, I would say this for the future, producers, that if they, if we get blessed to get some sort of a movie, which that's not the goal. I'm not one of these SJW people out here they don't really want to do anything. They just want to get a movie deal and sit back, make out like a fat rat. But if we were to get that, just know that the contract will state that both I and Canales will have to be on set and will be like final approval on everything, especially Canales, because I know, like I said, I know what kind of mind he has, and I know visually, creatively, what kind of mind he has. So I know right then and there, he's not gonna be able to sit there and see them setting up a shot, and maybe he's never done any work like that ever, but he already knows it's wrong. He already knows, like, no, you listen, if you do it like this, and you catch this wide angle, blah blah blah, you're gonna see this, that, and the other. And that's the type of thing. Like I note about him that I've seen about him as far as in his work. I can tell that's the way he thinks. So if it ever comes down to that, that'll happen. But
that's the way it's got to be.
But peep this though. Peep this. When we're talking about Canales' work in Spanish, right? From the whole aspect of anti-CG and SJW and all that, right? The numbers on that being in Spanish is going to be another case against them, because when they see that all those people are buying it, okay, we're racist. What? There's Comicsgate is racist. What? You know what I mean? And so you got too many people speaking Spanish that are buying his book, even those who don't even speak it. How racist can we be? I mean,
Well,
I don't know.
I think we do it Spanish and we do it English.
Yeah. Actually, I offered myself as a translator for SAC for the Spanish version of Jawbreakers, but I still haven't heard anything back from him. But yeah, I think it would be really cool.
Yeah.
Dude, that's another campaign. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I love Zach, but he can't sleep on that, because that's a huge market. And you're talking about people who are speaking only Spanish that are ordering the English version, you know, and then they have to go in and maybe they have a friend or however they have to do it to translate it, you know.
That's easy. We get that done. Hey guys, we gotta say hi to Nerd Wonder. She just jumped on with us to say hi.
Hey,
a lot of fun.
Hello.
Nerd Wonder.
Hello. How are you guys?
We're doing
I'm
good.
doing okay. I've been just drawing all day and all night.
Nerd Wonder, you do. Let's just talk about your art.
I'm gonna head to the bathroom real quick. You guys go ahead and talk.
All right, hit us back up. Nerd, welcome.
Thank you.
You're a wonder, Nerd Wonder.
Aw, thank you.
Yep, I'm sure you've heard that one before. Let's be honest. Nerd Wonder, it's a funny name you have there, but it's good. All right, do you know Canales? Have you met him before?
Not in real life, but I know Canales.
Not IRL. Okay.
Yeah, we know each other. I just think we never met virtually so far.
No, not really. I mean, I know about him. He's really cool.
Yeah, he's really cool. His work is really cool. He's working on this project now with Alejandro and a bunch of other. You're doing Iron Sights too as well right now, right?
Yeah, and I think I'm going to do exactly what I did with Necromancer and Tombstone Blues once I'm done with Iron Sights too, and that is I'm going to work in 2 comics at the same time. I'll be working on JOHNNY LAU, and I will be working for Chimera Comics.
Oh my god!
Which is also he's also a good friend of mine, and I don't think I'll be sleeping anytime soon before 2021, but it will be worth it because we'll be saving comic books.
Yeah, I mean,
you go ahead, Nerd.
You saved a lot of comic books if you really think about it. All your hard work and so forth.
Yeah, I mean,
inspirational.
I like to think that because I've been working my ass off for like I don't know, maybe 18 months now.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I'm pretty happy about I'm pretty satisfied with myself right now.
You should be very proud. You do excellent work, and I've seen that you progress as time goes on, and even when people criticize your work, you never attack people, which is what we're very against. It's like, listen, if you're fans,
because if criticism is good natured, if the criticism is true, and as in I like your stuff, but I think you could really improve in this and that areas, that doesn't piss me off. And even if the criticism is it's mean, it's just meant to hurt you, just ignore it, because they have no point. You could be, as we've seen, you could be Ethan freaking Van Sciver, and you could be producing the best artwork of your life, and they would still say Zax because you're you.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Nerd Wonder, what do you like to work in? I actually, the thing that made me say, like, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna invite Nerd Wonder tonight was you're part of CG Delta, which is growing really, really well, and we're going to try to talk more about it too, and figure out how we can continue to grow it in the awesome Discord chat, which is just like big Twitter. But for people that don't know Discord, like I didn't know Discord, it's like big Twitter. What the hell is that? And it's just a separate application, and it's shared, and basically it's better set up to communicate, especially when you have more than 50 people involved.
Heck yeah, I love Discord.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of starting to get used to it, and I'm not totally used to it yet. But we're gonna indoctrinate people in it and get them with it.
Where did Nerd go?
I'm right here.
Oh, okay, there. You sound like
Nerding around.
Came in.
Nerd, just to talk about you a little bit. You do artwork.
Mhm.
What are your styles? What do you like to work in?
I like to draw, like, a lot of people know me for my very cutesy style. I draw like chibis, you know? Everybody likes chibis. They're a bit quicker for me, but I am incredibly slow at my work pace.
Oh, this is you're drawing right now.
Mhm.
Oh, that is so cool. Are you drawing a chibi?
Yeah, sure. Would you like a chibi?
Is it an Adam Post chibi, and it could be my icon?
Sure.
All right, Adam Post it is. It's one of my favorites.
Kanala said he's going to
Make it
start
flattering.
drawing.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a draw-off between Nerd and me.
Okay.
Oh, no, are you gonna make one, Canales?
Not really a chibi. I'm going to try and design one of Alejandro's characters live on the stream.
No, you gotta pick his then. His is gonna be legit. No chibi for you. No chibi. He gets it. He wins. There you go.
What's the story behind like chibis that they came out and they existed? They're Japanese.
Yeah, they're Japanese anime influenced. They are it's what chibi stands for, very tiny. They're also known as super deformed characters. So they get very like it. So but they're just meant to be very cute, you know, like smaller proportions and everything, and modeling the eyes and mouths closer together makes things look much cuter. And so they've learned to give it this kind of effect and feel. And they're supposed to be like tend to be just summer, like very super deformed, tiny versions of characters from anime and manga, or just their own things.
I heard that Nerd cheats when she does it because she looks in the mirror.
Really smooth. Really.
No, I'm just, you know, being funny. So, Canales, are you doing it on paper?
Yep. I'm sorry I can't screen share because I'm using my laptop, which is crap, and my cell phone is even more crap. But I promise I'll take a picture once it's done.
Oh, no problem. Hey, I'm not even worried because I already know it's going to be amazing. So,
thank you so much.
Yeah, we could focus on Nerd. You know, I see she's got something going on there. It's looking pretty good so far.
Oh, thank you. I try. At least.
Yeah, you threw me for a loop with that voice when you first came in. I was like,
oh no.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, I usually I can make a pretty good voice. It
makes me
that's fun to give people those kind of.
It makes me think of what I saw recently. Who is it? Metal Bat. I think Metal Bat's little sister. Was it Metal Bat? Yeah, I think it was Metal Bat on season 2 of One Punch Man. And she was telling him not to fight, and she was telling the hero killer, you know, no, you need to leave him alone because you know he has to go home or whatever. You know, that's what it means.
Aww.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people have been saying they're not enjoying the second season that much. I don't know. I like it.
I haven't actually watched a lot of One Punch Man.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good. I mean, well, you know, I'm not really into anime, honestly. I really don't like anime. Yeah. Not into anime, not into manga, but it's only that show and My Hero Academia that I even pay attention to. But because the superheroes, right? Exactly.
Yeah. Then you would probably like Tiger and Bunny or Ratman.
Okay, I'm gonna check those out.
Ratman did not become, sadly, anime, but it is a manga.
Oh, okay.
It's about a kid that wants to be a superhero, but he ends up becoming a supervillain.
Okay, yeah. It seems they play with that. They play with that theme a lot. It seems like, you know, they're very how do you call it? They're very open to exploring the you know, the villain side of things, even in superhero, you know, even though it's supposed to be core superhero stuff, they like to you know, explore that.
Yeah. Though in this one it's a comedy. Like he didn't want to be the supervillain. It just accidentally happened. Like he gained
Yeah.
the supervillain's power stuff, and he's like, "Ah, come on, guys."
Yeah, exactly.
It's cute. Tiger and Bunny, I think, is what started the superhero boom in Japan. They were it's a amalgamation of like really old school Western comics mixed with Japanese stuff. Like I guess some guy was like, okay, if just hear me out, guys. If superheroes really existed, who the hell would pay for all the damages?
Right. Exactly.
And so pretty much all superheroes in this society, to become a superhero, you need to have a sponsor. So all the characters in this series have a sponsor. Like somebody's sponsored by Amazon, somebody's sponsored by Pepsi.
Yeah.
And like that's how you do it. That's how you do it, because they're like, they'll pay for all the damages, but meanwhile you give them all the good publicity.
I think that's how they kind of circumvented that on One Punch Man, because of the cities and the way that they are, where it doesn't matter. Like they're like, we'll just make that, you know, one of the cities that are abandoned or whatever, a ghost town, you know, if things get damaged, like, because there's constantly damaged, you know, there's demon level threats and so on and so forth. And so, you know, they made it to where society, like the buildings are just letters and numbers. I'm sorry, the cities are just letters and numbers. So it's so, how do you call it? Just not, yeah, it doesn't matter. They're just so insignificant that, you know, they cover the whole thing where, oh, well, what happens if all that damage, who pays for all that? Well, we don't even focus on that because we really don't even care about the cities. We don't even bother to name them, you know. So.
That kind of reminds me of, strangely, another anime called Excel Saga, about a girl that's joined up with an evil organization to take over the world, but they're going to start small and they're going to take over the city of F.
Okay.
It's really old, but it's pretty good.
I gotta say, I like the Japanese because they're capable of a lot more levels of deconstruction, and yet they never make it depressing or sad, and it's always fun, and you know, that's what I like about them.
Yeah, they do a good job. They know, like, they're not here for a soap opera. They're here for an adventure.
Yeah.
Right. I the one thing I can say is I like the scale and the scope that they draw at, you know, the way that they simplify, you know, the drawings of people, characters, and then everything else is you know, hyper realistic or hyper, you know, detailed. So that's what I've always liked. And I'll see their backgrounds and I'm like, man, come on, dude. Like, I'm not,